Hi, this is a recording from GMATquestions.org. Let's read the question. Dave wants to create a new paint color by mixing two colors of paint in this ratio. 1 part red paint for every 5 part white paint. Unfortunately, Dave mistakenly puts 1/3 as much red paint as he should have. Incidentally, the resulting total paint solution is only 48 gallons. How many gallons of white paint did Dave put into the mixture? Another ratio question, a little bit more complicated than the one we just saw in the previous question. Okay, but no problem. So what we need to do here is to write the two colors involved by their initial. Obviously, you can write red. I mean, it wouldn't take too much time to write basically red and then white. Okay, if you want, I can just write red and white because it doesn't take a lot of time. And then we have the mixture. We're just going to call it total. Okay. So in general, if I have a lot of words involved here to get to things faster, I just write the initials R, W, and T. But here that's okay. So initially, what we should have is 1 part red for 5 parts white. However, Dave made a mistake, so I will not be writing here the total corresponding to these two ratios because a mistake was made. Instead, I'm gonna take into account the mistake that Dave made while putting the red paint. We are told that Dave mistakenly puts 1/3 as much red paint as he should have. 1/3, we have 1 here, we should have 1, but he put 1/3 as much. So all we have to do is divide this 1 by 3 and put 1/3. That's what it means to say 1/3 as much red paint. Okay, make sure you make sure you read the English properly. 1/3 as much means just 1/3 of 1 here. Okay, we still have the white paint in the same ratio, 5. Now what we need to do is to make this 1/3 ratio to turn it into an integer. And if you do that, we're gonna have to also adjust the ratio under white, because 1/3 is not a very sexy way of writing a ratio. Okay, so we need to multiply 1/3 by 3 to get 1. So 1 here, and we need to multiply 5 by 3 to get 15. I hope you understood what I did here. I repeat, I multiply this particular ratio here, these two ratios, I multiply them by 3 in order to get integer ratio. Mathematically, it's the same. There is no difference. It's just a ratio. Again, as you know, the ratio of 1/2 is the same as the ratio of 2/4. So I can do this without affecting the result. Now that we have 1 and 16, we can add them up to find a total ratio of 16. Okay? Now, I'm running out of room here, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna rewrite the same thing right there. So I'm gonna put red, white, and total. And we have 1, 15, and 16. If you watch the previous question or the question before that, you realize that I'm gonna draw a line here and understand that 48 correspond to the total ratio because 48 gallons is the total paint solution. So clearly it's gonna correspond to 16. But I'm gonna write it below the line, so I'm gonna write 48. And then I'm gonna change the color and deal with the multiplier. I've dealt with that concept of multiplier in a previous question. Okay? So the multiplier here is just 48 divided by 16, which is 3. So this 3 gonna be everywhere. It's a universal multiplier. Okay? If you don't understand what I just did, watch a question. I think it may have been question number 3. I'm not so sure. Okay? But this calls a multiplier. We are dividing the total pen solution by the corresponding ratio to find the multiplier. If we were given the pen solution corresponding to red, we would have also performed a division. And the same is true for white. Okay? Now, in order to find how many gallons of white paint they've put into the mixture, all we have to do is look at white and the white here and multiply 15 by 3. So 15 multiplied by 3 is clearly 45. And that is our answer. Okay? So the correct answer is A. Let's write it down. A is the correct answer. Great. So I hope that you are starting to understand how ratios work. They're pretty exciting once you know how to do them, because they really make life much easier. By writing this table, it's much smoother, much more organized, and it's much easier to deal with these questions that seems to be very complex at first glance. This is a recording from gmatquestions.org. See you in the next video.